Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Noah.
And this is the NFGeeks Christmas Spectacular. Alright, Noah, so more Christmas fun with the Myers-Briggs, right? And for this episode, Noah, I wanted us to talk about something that we like to do, that we do it all the time anyway for fun. This is sort of a special type of episode you and I do, and that is when we kind of, you know, type sort of fun things like superheroes and stuff. So this one, we're going to type Christmas characters in the Christmas stories, even some of the religious ones, and have a discussion about that, because that's kind of fun. Because again, if all the types are and temperaments are contributing to Christmas, you know, they should show up a lot in the various stories. Although, thinking about it, it is a little NF heavy.
Oh yeah,
I have to say, or at least so far the way we're interpreting it.
To be honest, it is again your holiday.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. All right. So where do you want to start? Want to start religious, secular? You know,
let's start NF.
Okay, so. NFs. All right. Well, you don't want to start with this particular story or anything, or just go around the various NFs.
Yeah, let's just go around various NFs.
Okay.
And let's start with the big one, Santa.
Okay, Santa. All right. Well, one of the mistakes people make about Santa, I know this is because of the song, that Santa is an SJ. Okay. Santa,
or at least a J.
Yeah, he is neither. Okay, and that is because if he was a J, first of all, he was an SJ, there'd only be a naughty list. Okay, and everyone would get coal, or you'd get totally utilitarian, you know, presents, canned goods. You know, so he's definitely an NF. There's magic, he flies, and all that. He's jolly, and okay. And there's the thing: if you look at the NFGeeks channel page, I think he's an ENFP. I think I'm Santa. Look, I even look like Santa. I mean, literally, I don't mean the hat. I mean, look, my cheeks, the beard.
The tie.
The tie. The suspenders. The Santa wears suspenders. So I have a whole Santa thing going on. And
yeah, I could definitely see ENFP.
Yeah, and the reason for that is, here's the thing. Who do you know ever got coal? Nobody. Everybody got a gift. There's no J in that. Everybody, even the shitty kids got a gift. Because here's the thing why I realized he was an AFP. That's what I do. Even you were a shit, you'd get a present. I wouldn't deny a present. I wouldn't. If I was Santa, I wouldn't even deny Podler presents, okay? I would be annoyed, but I would come down the tree and I would say, okay, you're an IG, whatever, okay, here's your present, and I would totally not deny them a present.
But you wouldn't do anything.
What do you mean?
You wouldn't make it ironic. You wouldn't make it
No, I'd be annoyed. They would know. I would give them the evil eye and say, you know, even though you've been a jackass to me, I'm still going to give you a present, because that's what I'm like. You know, I'd give them the present. But they'd get their presents. I wouldn't deny any of their presents. So that's why I think he's an ENFP. And he's partying. He also is very lazy, works one night a year.
I know, well, all the other elves.
Right. Right, doing the work. So I
364 days a year.
Yeah. I think in the Rankin Bass cartoon, you know, the animated clay, whatever those things are. You know,
when stop motion?
Yeah, the stop motion. Yeah. I think that representation is
very ENFP.
An NF and ENFP representation.
The Santa Claus is coming to town.
Right, that one. Yeah, very good one. And I think Mrs. Claus is kind of INFJ in that one.
Yeah, and her song.
I know you don't like that song.
No. It's horrible.
I guess because you're an SJ.
So 60s and weird, like colors and like God.
Colors, images, symbolism.
Like I watched that part of the special and I'm like, okay, are the Beatles gonna come in this? Is a yellow submarine just gonna pass by?
And that would be bad. Why?
It has nothing to do with what's going on!
Okay, no, it does. You just can't interpret it correctly.
She's having feelings about Santa.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Well, it was obvious before the song, so why does there need to be a song
Because it's showing the depth of her love and how it connects to the Christmas love, and that's why they're sort of soulmates, and they're what Carl Jung would call a syzygy, and this is all above your head.
Oh my God.
So, all right, so what other NFs? What other NFs do you think there are?
Well, to go religious...
Oh, sure.
Jesus.
Sure, Jesus is an NF. I mean, Jesus is the one NF to rule them all. I always put him as an ENFJ. I've had some discussions with INFJs, because they think Jesus is an INFJ. And first of all, when I say Jesus, I'm not talking about the actual human being, whoever that was. But still, I would actually probably guess was an ENFJ. I'm talking about the symbolic archetype and the narratives. Okay? The ideal symbol of Jesus that's in that's what you're actually coming to contact with scripturally, this symbolic image in the narratives, and I would say it's a symbol of ENFJ, an idealized of ENFJ, because there's teaching going on and sort of preaching. INFJs get very much in touch with Christian values, and that's why they're all the best saints and things like that. But I think Jesus was an ENFJ.
Right, because he's the one going out
and teaching, right? And I actually think most religious people who are sort of bringing a new teaching are ENFJs. I bet Buddha was an ENFJ. So there's that. Mary is an INFP.
Really?
Because there's something very giving and loving and motherly about INFPs in general, and I think there's something very INFP about Mary. Even the statues, go check out the statues. They look like INFPs. Yeah, they do. The Magi, those are the wise men. Okay, and if you want to be sound really smart and pretentious Christmas Eve, their traditional names are Balthazar, Gaspar, and Melchior. Okay, so if you want to impress somebody, they're
Guardian Leviosa.
Yeah.
I know, they sound like Harry Potter characters.
Well, they are sort of magical. They're Zoroastrians, and they see the star and all that. Hey, and that's another way, getting back to the last episode, NT's ruined Christmas. Is that when they do the astronomy thing? Like, when we run simulations of the constellations, there was no conjunction or supernova in 4 BC that would represent... Yeah, no shit. Okay? It's symbolic. It's an archetype. But I know. I already did that episode. The wise men are... or the Magi, I think, are INFJs, so they represent INFJ. The great wisdom and knowing when something NF has come into the world and following sort of a mystical point, the Star of Bethlehem, that kind of thing. So they're NFs. Or they represent NFs.
Right. The SJ is talking to God. Dude, we need a way to get to your son. Here's an NF. How should I do this? Star.
Yes, that's right. So that's so maybe we'll get back to scripture. Other NFs. What are some other NFs you think?
Well, okay, let's think of other characters.
Okay, let's go back into the children's stuff.
What about Rudolph?
Oh, Rudolph. Rudolph's another INFP, absolutely.
Why is he an INFP?
Right, okay, so, alright, but I actually have an argument why. This will make the INFPs feel better. I have an argument as to why Rudolph really is an INFP. Okay, ready? Okay, it's going to blow your mind. Alright, 1, has a lot of shame. That's right. Feels shame about that red nose. Tries to cover it up. At the same time, even though he has the shame, tries to mix in and be a chameleon with the other reindeer.
Although, okay, he's kind of forced into that by his father.
Of course, you have to force INFPs into social situations. They're having an anxiety attack prior to the social situation. Just like Rudolph. I'm saying he's totally an INFP.
I know
anxiety
you.
Attack.
Okay.
No, go ahead. What?
It'd be funny if there was a way to make it so he's like even more that we could do to make him even more INFP. Like we give him a bag, like Blit or whoever his father is, like bringing him there. He's INFP, just breathing into a bag.
I mean, well, there has some anxiety, but it's there. And so all right, so he has social anxiety, has shame, gets thrust into the other reindeers, but mixes in because the INFPs can do that. Overexerts themselves. All right, then becomes shamed. Okay. All right, and what
play the reindeer game.
That's right. And what does Rudolph do? Okay, what does Rudolph do? Runs away, doesn't tell anybody why.
Not even to the girl that he likes,
right?
Or his mother, who
That's right.
liked him and his mother.
Right. Everyone just has to know. Like it's almost he expects everyone to know why he left. No explanation. Just runs away. Okay. And also INFP. Does this sound familiar? Why am I such a misfit? Why am I such a nitwit? I mean, that's a classic INFP feeling in the head.
It's the INFP Christmas.
It is. It's the INFP Christmas. That's why Rudolph is so INFP. But before you start and then he does it again with Yukon. He takes off on them.
Right. Yeah.
No explanation.
They find this new house with all the other misfit toys.
Right.
And, what does Rudolph do? I'm sorry, guys, I have to go.
Right.
But he leaves, I don't even think, he doesn't even leave a note, he just walks out of the house.
Right, so no explanation, they're supposed to know or something, withdraws.
And then something which I find maybe funny, maybe NF, is that he gets on this piece of, ice near the water, and it just, floats off, and then you back away, and it just hit, the back of him floating off. And I'm like...
and let me tell you, INFPs, you would wish that was you. Okay, you would love that image of you on an iceberg moving off into
I'm seeing the new world. Right. I'm going out to find myself.
Yes, I must leave this world behind. It hurts too much. Now,
and by the way, he goes and it's gone for years.
Yeah, or at least a long time. But all right, but here's the good news. Let's bring it around for INFP. Rudolph is the hero. Okay, he's the hero of the whole thing. He saves the day. He saves everybody. He fights the abominable snowman. He helps Santa with with the reindeers and the fog and all that. So he wins the day because he's a hero. And again, this points to the archetype that the hero that's going through the transformational journey. As much as I'm goofing on you right now, the hero of the transformational journey that starts somewhere, ends somewhere, and turns into something new is always the INFP. You will always find INFP there. So there's something really significant about that. So hopefully they feel appeased. I doubt it. But still, you can't deny it, okay?
Blocky!
Do not feel shame. I'm ashamed that you made me feel shame. Alright, so that...
And then there's this one IFP. You know what, Mike? I do wish that it was me floating off into the
yeah, I'm going to get that comment. They're going to be like, oh my god, every time I saw that with Rudolph, I cried. Yes, INFPs could identify with Rudolph. Speaking of Rudolph, I think another ENFP is the snowman who sings Silver and Gold.
I know, I actually could easily picture you as that snowman.
Yeah, being the narrator, and really he doesn't do anything. He has no job. You know what I mean?
Narrating, and
narrating and singing.
A couple of songs.
He's got that vest. You know.
I know. It's like I now I look back at it and like, my God, that's you.
That's right. I'm in there too.
You're in there.
Right.
No, you're the snowman. Like, you're literally the snowman.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook. It's my Facebook picture right now. Absolutely. All right. So let's go through all. Let's stay with Rudolph a minute. Think of the other types. Now we've been talking about this for the longest time, but that elf that yells at Herbie,
the green one,
with the goatee, that's a freaking ESTJ. That's a
Herbie.
What?
That's his favorite line. When like Herbie goes, I want to be a dentist, and he's like, oh, a dentist. A dentist?
What? What? That's not SJ. I guess it makes sense that the elves would be SJ or have an SJ, floor person. But there's also another elf. There's a tall elf in the background with glasses. Look for this elf. That's an ISTJ. Because it looks like you.
It does not look like
it. It looks like you and your uncle, who was an ISTJ. Look
more than him than me, though.
No, man, it has your kind of, demeanor.
No.
It's an ISTJ elf. Look, watch. Go turn it in and you tell me if it looks like Noah. Alright, now an SP, I think, in that same episode, that same special, is Yukon Cornelius. And I think he's either an ESTP or an ESFP.
What makes you say SP?
Because he kind of lives in the moment. He's kind of freewheeling. He's all on his own. He's not meeting anybody. He's not following anybody.
Not thinking about it or telling anyone. Gonna jump on the abominable snowman and knock off.
Yeah, just right in the moment. I just decided to do that in the moment. Very brave, ballsy.
Everyone's like, Yukon! He's like, woo!
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's he actually makes that. He's like, oh yeah, doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going yeah.
Yeah, and so he's
Hey. I don't know if you can hear this.
Yeah, it's the INFP theme song.
It's the Misfit song.
Yeah. So, right. So I think I don't know if he's a STP, an ESTP, or an ESFP. I'm thinking F because he seems a little jolly.
Yeah, he seems jolly and he's helping out the guy.
Right, he seems sympathetic. You know what I mean? So I would say, but he could be an ESTP.
Yeah, and he doesn't bash on any of them.
No, and he cares, and he's trying to just to make money to live. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like he's stockpiling like the SJs. You know,
and he lets in the snowman to a song number.
Yeah, and not only that, he's very SPs are very live and let live. So here's this reindeer, the stalking reindeer, and this nerd kid. Totally accepts them. Totally accepts them. Completely accepts them as part of the thing. Does not in any way judge them or question them. So he's an SP. Yukon Cornelius is an SP. So be proud. Yukon Cornelius is an SP.
All right. Anybody other in Rudolph?
I don't know what Hermie is. Sometimes I think he's an INFJ. He kind of has an ISTJ hair thing going on. But I think he's honestly, if he's a dentist in medicine, I don't know. I think he's more of maybe an NT. I think he might be an NT. Now, he's either an NT or an SJ. I'll say that. He could be like an ISFJ. Any thoughts about? He's fascinated by studying it, so that tells me he's an NT.
Yeah.
To be honest, maybe an INTP.
Yeah, I don't know if this is right.
He kind of looks like Brad without the glasses. If you think about it.
I don't know if this is right, but either him or Rudolph come up with the plan about the abominable snowman when it takes his mom or something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's either him or Rudolph who comes up.
Right. No, he does because it's the teeth.
Him and right.
Right. He takes out the teeth. So so that's he's an INT there. Hermes an INT.
Right. Also, getting back to Yukon, he somehow tames the abominable snowman.
Right.
Without explaining. No, he just comes up with calling a Bumble too.
Yeah.
Like just coming back with him like, hey, I got the abominable snowman, guys.
That's right. Not really thinking about the consequences of whether or not the abominable snowman may go
ready
through a wall.
or ready to be back.
It is a care. All right, so let's talk about some other characters. One that I was having a good chuckle about is that the INTJ of Christmas is the Grinch. Don't you think?
Okay.
I think the Grinch is an INTJ.
Yeah, let's talk about him a little bit, then I want to say something.
Okay. So, all right. So, first of all, only an INTJ would come up with a plot to ruin Christmas for everybody and carry it out. And then, you know, and you mentioned this, instead of just chucking the...
Yeah, this is what I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, he's at the top of what's the mountain again?
I don't know, the mountain he lives on.
Okay, the mountain. And
He's
holding it like this, but like that... Cool. That way, he's just holding it with his fingertips,
right.
and he says is that okay? Before I throw all of this toys off the mountain, I want to hear everyone cry.
Yeah, that's an INTJ thing. Oh my God, that is such an and the facial expressions that the Grinch makes in this is in the cartoon.
Oh,
version.
like the
Chuck Jones, right? The Chuck Jones version,
not the
movie, the horrible movie.
Okay.
No, it's horrible.
It's okay.
It's terrible.
It doesn't have the spirit. It doesn't have the spirit or the stuff of the other one is, but I can enjoy watching it.
I cannot.
Okay.
I cannot enjoy it. All right, but his facial expressions, his disdain and disgust faces. Go ahead, check it out.
And the smile,
the grin when he comes up with the plot.
That is It was creepy. It was creepy as a kid, but now it makes me
right because it's the troll smile. It might as well be the troll face. The new troll face should just be the Grinch smiling, the Christmas troll face. So he concocts, plans out, and then enacts this entire troll on the Whoville just to ruin Christmas for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So I think he's an upset.
And then like the little girl that comes in.
Oh, and guess who? Another one. INFP. Of course.
That's exactly how I
INFP is a little tiny INFP. Right?
Santa, what are you doing with the Christmas tree?
Right. But not only that, I mean, she's sort of like, you know, from her singing and swinging, she's sort of, you know, sort of the symbol of the Christmas spirit surviving, and the Grinch didn't win, after all.
And he changed.
And he changed, yes. Sometimes it makes me think, so that depends on, then what is the Grinch? There's two possibilities. The Grinch is actually an INFJ that was really miserable, and then their INFJ-ness was brought back to them. Or they were an INTJ who discovered their humanity. And I'm actually leaning towards the INTJ, discovering their humanity.
Really?
As the Grinch, as opposed to a repressed INFJ. That in the end, he learns to be a better INTJ. You know, which INTJ is going to achieve. And he's a good archetype of that. All right, so some other...
What's great, too, is now the movie is kind of now a troll on NTs. But the whole heart growing 3 sizes that day.
Yeah, I know, that's an NF thing.
And it's great too, is like the before picture of his heart is probably like every NT's heart.
Yeah, exactly. Right, destroyed little, exactly. And they invented the X-ray to show that too.
Right, which is always hilarious.
All right, so I only got a few minutes left, so we got to go quick. I want to do a few from A Christmas Carol, because this is one that's we've been under debate under this one. And I'm not sure what Scrooge is. Sometimes I think he's an SJ, like an ISTJ maybe. I'm sure he's an I and a J, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't get the impression that he's intuitive. You know, what do you think?
No.
Maybe an ISFJ. I don't know.
Like before or after, he's not being intuitive about it.
Right.
Like he has to. Okay, which shows a little bit more SJ. He has to be shown these things that happen to him.
And ISTJs are kind of bean counters. So he could easily be an ISTJ, a grumpy ISTJ.
Right.
You know.
And really, I do have to say, bah humbug sounds much more coming out of an
miserable SJ. I think Bob Cratchit is an ISFJ.
Yeah, he's definitely an F.
You know what I mean? He's an F, but he's an SJ, but he's attentive, like the Tiny Tim.
Because he's weeping over Tiny Tim.
Yeah, that's very SJ.
What about the ghosts? Because those are
tough. I'm not sure.
Let's do.
The whole thing almost has too much NF to it because I think Charles Dickens was an NF, but I think the Ghost of Christmas Past could be either an INFP or an ISFP. It's an IFP, I know that.
Really?
But it might be an ISFP because I don't know if there's any.
It doesn't say much.
But there's a ghost, so I mean, kind of has an NF feel to it. The Ghost of Christmas Present is either an ENFP or ESFP, I think.
Yeah, because he's jolly and, you know, having a great time with all this.
Yeah, but that could be ENFP or ESFP.
Right, but to go a little more NF, he does have that NF moment where he tells Scrooge about, like, there will be a, what is it?
Oh,
Like,
Tiny Tim, yeah.
Right, I see a lone chair at the Cratchit house and a crutch without an owner.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Not to mention, that goes back to our other episode. That's an NF bringing someone down. That kind of brings everything down before you see what happens.
Yeah,
later.
well, that's because he was being a jerk, you know. The Ghost of Christmas Future, I don't know. It could be anything.
It doesn't talk.
It's
a J, though. It's definitely a J.
Oh, yeah, an I. It's an IJ.
It's an IJ.
Yes.
I think a T. Because, like,
yeah,
he has no remorse for what he's doing.
All right, true, but it's sort of mystical, spiritual creature, and that's why I think NF. And also, that reminds me that sometimes I think Scrooge is an INFJ, because, all right, if this is all really happening, like, concretely, then he's an ISTJ. But INFJs are known for their mysticism and seeing ghosts and spirits and having these mystical experiences. And so if Scrooge is having a mystical experience, then he could be an INFJ that was just sort of ruined in life, you know?
Yeah, but it's like he has to literally have all of what the three ghosts show him put in his face, which makes me think...
all right, you got to hear INFJs talk about the hooded ghosts and all these crazy things, man. I could see that with INFJ. They say some scary shit.
Alright.
Seriously, some INFJs get some scary shit.
Well, I mean the information, though, more, like, all of this
Well,
stuff
they could arrive at with their introverted intuition. If he was an INFJ and he had introverted intuition, he could easily arrive at these things. So... I don't know. You can debate that.
Alright.
All right, any others? No, I think we're way over our time today.
Yeah, we are. No, I think we did every type.
All right, great. So that's our... So chime in and tell me what you think. And also, if you have other characters we forgot, you know, or you want to talk about, you know, comment about it. Let's have a debate or discussion. All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Take it easy.